My dear students, during this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, many of you cannot take your books at your home. So you are depending on the PDF format and on Google. Okay. Today I shall show you that how Google will be your teacher in case of learning the artery supply of the upper limb. I want to give you just one clue that upper limb is supplied by the subclavian arteries. So I shall go to google.com and search with subclavian artery. Okay, let's see the generated answer. We shall read from here. The subclavian arteries are a pair of large arteries in the thorax that supply blood to the thorax itself, head, neck, shoulder and arms. Depending on the side of the body, it can have two origins, the aortic arch on the left and the brachiocephalic trunk on the right. Now we will see the image. Okay, here is the image generated by KenHub. Look at here. We are looking through this coronal section of the neck region and the thorax from the front side. Okay. So it is the left side of this individual and here is the right side of this individual. Just look at here. This one is the right sided subclavian artery and here this one is the left sided subclavian artery. And this left subclavian artery arises from the arch of the aorta, directly from the arch of the aorta. But as this arch of the aorta turns to left and from the descending thoracic aorta in the left side, so here for supplying the area situated in this region, a trunk is needed to be raised, okay, for minimizing this turning. And the name of this trunk is the brachiocephalic trunk. Why it is named as brachiocephalic trunk? Because brachium means arm. Here the arm is situated and the artery arises from this trunk will supply the brachium or arm, and another one is the common carotid artery and it will supply the cephalic region or head neck region. So this trunk is termed as the brachiocephalic trunk. Okay, so right sided subclavian artery arises from the brachiocephalic trunk. Okay, now we'll see another image from here. Just look at here. Here the heart and the arch of the aorta, descending thoracic aorta, these are hidden with the manubrium sterni. That means those things are situated behind the sternum. Okay, we can see here the brachiocephalic trunk and here is the subclavian artery and this one is the common carotid artery, obviously right sided common carotid artery. Now look, this subclavian artery, it is a common channel containing blood, but in front of it here a muscle is situated, or this artery runs behind this muscle. Okay, the name of this muscle is the scalenus anterior muscle, and this is termed as the scalenus because the length of the different fiber of this muscle are not same, and the Latin scalenus means the uneven or the length of something is not same in case of the pairing. Okay, so here three fibers are situated side by side but their lengths are not even and situated anteriorly, so it is termed as the scalenus anterior muscle. This scalenus anterior muscle will divide the subclavian artery into three parts. It doesn't mean that this muscle will cut the artery into three pieces, don't think that. Just the length of the artery from its origin up to the medial border of the scalenus anterior muscle, this one is the first part, and the portion of the artery that remain behind the scalenus anterior muscle is termed as the second part, and rest of the portion up to the outer border of the first rib is termed as the third part. Okay, we can see the artery from here, from Human Anatomy Atlas, and we have to hide some muscles. This one is the sternocleidomastoid. Here this is the sternohyoid. homohyoid, and we will also hide the structures other than arteries. These are the veins. Okay, we will hide all these, and now also this muscle and this muscle. Now look at here, this one is the right-sided brachiocephalic trunk, and from the brachiocephalic trunk, one artery that will go up to the cephalic region, that is the common carotid artery, and one artery that will supply brachial region, that is known as the subclavian artery. Okay, from its origin up to this muscle of uneven length, okay, of different fibers. This portion is the first part, and just behind the muscle, the portion of the artery is second part, and from the lateral border of this muscle up to the outer border of the first rib, if we hide this clavicle and the pectoralis major, then we can see the first rib. Here is the first rib. So up to this outer border, this portion is the third part of the subclavian artery. Okay. Now look at the branches of the subclavian artery. Here from the first part of the subclavian artery, it is very obvious that there are three branches arises from the first part of the subclavian artery, and their name are also very easy. How? Just see that this artery arises from the first part of the subclavian artery and will go up through the foramen transversalia of the upper 6 cervical vertebrae, isn't it? So it is termed as the vertebral artery. Clear? Okay. Another trunk arises from here. From this trunk, one artery will go to the thyroid gland, inferior aspect of the thyroid gland. So it is termed as the inferior thyroid artery. And another artery from this trunk will go to the neck region, and it will go in a transverse manner. So it is termed as the transverse cervical artery, as the cervix means the neck. For this region, this trunk will be termed as the thyrocervical trunk. Clear? Okay. Now come to this long artery. Here, this one. This artery will go down in the anterior aspect of the thorax, just behind the sternum on its lateral margin. This artery is termed as the internal thoracic artery or internal mammary artery. Okay, the long artery. So from the first part, three obvious branches will arise. Now from the second part, that means the part remain behind this muscle. So we will hide this muscle, the scalenus anterior muscle. Okay, and we will also hide the nerves from here. Okay, the brachial plexus, isn't it? Okay. Okay, we'll hide this. Fine. Now look at here. From this portion, another trunk will arise. From this trunk, one artery will go to the deep area of the neck, isn't it? So it is termed as the deep cervical artery, because cervix means the neck. Okay, and another artery will arise and go down this one in the superior aspect or superior intercostal space. Okay, here, this one. So it is termed as the superior intercostal artery or supreme intercostal artery or highest intercostal artery. So as from this trunk, the two arteries will go to the cervical region and the costal region. So this trunk will be termed as the costocervical trunk. Okay. Now look at here. From the thyrocervical trunk, another branch will arise, and that will go back over the scapula and termed as the suprascapular artery, because supra means above. And from the transverse cervical artery, another artery that will descend along the back of the scapula. So it is termed as the dorsal scapular artery. And this artery will go to the neck region, and it is situated in the superficial area. So it is termed as the superficial cervical branch or superficial cervical artery. So I am recapitulating. From the first part of the subclavian artery, three obvious branches you can see. One is the internal thoracic artery or internal mammary artery. Another one is the vertebral artery, and another one is the thyrocervical trunk. And from this trunk, many arteries will arise. One will go up to the thyroid gland, inferior aspect of the thyroid gland, that is the inferior thyroid artery. Another will go to the neck region transversely, that is the transverse cervical artery. And another artery that will go up to the above area of the scapula and termed as the suprascapular artery. And from the second part, two arteries will arise from a trunk. This one is the trunk. The name of this trunk is costocervical trunk. And from here, one artery that goes deep to the neck and termed as the deep cervical artery, and another one that will go to the supreme intercostal area or superior intercostal area, so termed as the superior intercostal artery. So I think it is clear to you now. And from the lateral border of the scalenus anterior up to the outer border of this first strip, this one is the first strip here, and up to the outer border of the first strip, this portion is termed as the third part of the subclavian artery. There are no branches from the third part of the subclavian artery. So my dear students, let's go to the Google again. Here below there are some questions asked by the people. What are the questions? What is the function of the subclavian artery? Yes, we know it now. What does the subclavian artery branch into? What are the branches? You already know. What happens if subclavian artery is blocked? Yes, we will go through this question. Let's see it. Oh, here is the term, the subclavian steal syndrome. Okay, it is the blockage of the subclavian artery which sits under the collarbone. It delivers blood to the arm and brain. The blockage causes the blood to flow in reverse. The arm steals blood flow from the blood which was intended for the posterior side of the brain. Okay, let's explain it by looking at the Human Anatomy Atlas. Okay, visible body here in front of us. If the obstruction of the subclavian artery or stenosis of the subclavian artery occur proximal to the vertebral artery, here in this region, near its origin, then what will happen? The upper limb will steal the blood from the vertebral artery. Clear? But I know that you are thinking that if blockage is present here, then how this vertebral artery is fed with the blood? Yes, the blood is coming from other side. If you hide this muscle, look at here, it is the left-sided vertebral artery and it anastomose or unite with the right-sided vertebral artery. Okay, so if blood cannot come from the right-sided subclavian artery, then this vertebral artery can be fed from the blood of the left-sided vertebral artery, and the arm will steal the blood to remain active. The arm is a thief, but good thief, like the thief of Baghdad, isn't it? Thank you very much. Thank you for watching.